All right, everybody. Welcome to the House of Agendas podcast. I am your host, Doug, aka Dark Doug. And sitting in with me is my co-host, Kid Kinsey.
It's Kid Kinsey. That's all I go by. Well, I have a few other names, but yeah, co-host of the podcast. And let's see how this goes.
All right, man. As lifelong sports fans and sports fans of sports debate, we've decided to unite and do our own podcast. Throughout the pod, we will be discussing all the big games, the top players, and make picks of each and every one of your favorite teams. Kinsey, would you like to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Just like Doug, a lifelong sports fan. Got into football before basketball, but as of right now, I say I like them about equally. And it's been a long off season, but football season started. We would have liked to get it started last week, but complications. But we're ahead now. Week 2 didn't start yet, so I think we're in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go over week 1 a little bit because, we didn't get to start on time, but we're just glad to even have the opportunity to try to do a podcast together. So, as you guys can both see, Cleveland Jets. They played this week on Sunday at 1:00. That's a big game for us. Mm-hmm. So I thought our first topic for the new podcast we discuss Jets versus Browns in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hear your prediction. Let's get your prediction right off the bat.
I'm not going to.
Because I'm going to write this down. I'm going to write this down.
Obviously, I think it's going to be a close game. It might be an ugly game. Not as ugly as Ravens Jets because that was like rainy and a lot of drops. But, it's Joe Flacco versus Joe Flacco versus Brissett and Myles Garrett. The way Joe Flacco was a statue in the pocket last week, it has a chance to get ugly. I'm just hoping that our defense shows up like it did because we were really good versus the run versus the Ravens. So if we just stop the run, Flacco make a few plays, I think we could pull it out like 27-21. Just like a
27-21. All right. I just wanted to mention, because I thought this was interesting, I looked real quick at your guys' stats last week. Joe Flacco threw the ball 54 times. You guys can't win if Joe Flacco's thrown the ball 54 times.
Yeah, it was just I don't know why he abandoned the run.
If I'm Cleveland, I want Joe Flacco throwing the ball that much. So what I'm worried about when we play you guys, obviously Quentin Williams, your defensive line, you guys have got a ton of talent. You guys got experienced linebackers. You've got a young stud corner who just came off a game where he was going head to head with the top 3 tight end in the league, Mark Andrews.
And
Sauce Gardner's a freak. I mean, he's a freak. He had let's see, I had it written down. He had 35 snaps. He had a pass breakup, 2 tackles by himself, and he was rated 8th out of all corners in the league. So, the guy's already a stud. So what I had written down was I was worried about Sauce, the D-line, and shutting down your young receiving core. I'm not worried about Joe Flacco, but I am worried about him getting the ball out quick.
Yeah.
And letting your younger guys get going. So you said 27-21. I'm going to say you said 27-21 Jets. I'm going to go 21-17 Browns. While I do think you guys will slow down Chubb a little bit, I think what takes us over the top is Kareem Hunt being able to catch the ball out of the backfield and do a little bit extra. So Chubb wears you guys down, and then Hunt comes in and cleans up some of that extra. So I'm going to say 21-17 Browns in a close game because our quarterbacks aren't going to beat each other. Yeah, it's going to have to be other players. We got career backups. Joe Flacco obviously had a great run early, but he's a backup now. If you guys can slow down Chubb, you're going to win the game.
Honestly, 20, if it's just like a normal football game with low turnovers, 27, there's no way we're going to get there. The reason I have 27 is because I'm expecting a few turnovers, fumbles, just a few free plays. Right. Otherwise than that, there's no way we drop the length of the football field 4 times. We don't have that right now.
And I mean, who's the starter? Is it Carter or is it going to be Breece Hall?
It's been last week it was Carter. He got a majority of the touches, but like
I saw, but you guys only ran the ball like 20 times. That's crazy.
yeah, that's something I don't know why we got away from that because it was a game in the first half. So for us to
That's fine.
abandon the run,
Yeah.
yeah, and treat Flacco like he's like Peyton, I don't know what we were doing.
54 throws for Flacco, man. I hope on Sunday we get that kind of action. Wanted to see. Let's see. I wanted to offer you a little bet for the Jets and Browns game.
Oh, no.
All right. If the Jets win, I will make my profile picture on my account, my Twitter account, whatever Jets player you want. If we win, which the guy's a Pro Bowl returner, that's all you talk about it all the damn time. I can't. And then obviously if the Browns win, you make it whatever player I say.
All right.
Abby for Abby. All right. We got that. Okay, so big week for the NFL. Obviously, a lot of close games. We had a couple blowouts here and there. I know the Chiefs. Obviously, you're a Mahomes guys. Arizona had nothing for them. I wanted to ask you, starting off, who was your biggest surprise of last week in the NFL in Week 1?
Whew, that's tough. I would have to say, like surprise team or like surprise win.
I decided I made a player and a team, because I think there were a couple surprises, but I went with a player that I was surprised by, and I went with a team. So you could go either direction.
I would say the team is the Steelers. Now, don't get me wrong. I never thought they were going to get embarrassed, but like 5 turnovers, that's insane.
It's funny you say that. I'm gonna bring that up in a second.
Yeah, in the fact that it looked like they were dead to rights, and obviously like a block point after is like a freak play, but the fact that they pulled that game out, and I had the Bengals going into it just because the offensive firepower. I thought Chase and Burrow make a few plays, and the Steelers offensively limited, they wouldn't be able to win it, but that defense, they pulled that out
and got hit on because it's a massive deal going forward. TJ Watt.
Yeah,
they said he didn't. They said that he didn't tear his pec all the way. He's going to be out for half the year. I mean, without him, I'm wondering how much that changes their defense because, he's the best DN probably in the league.
Yeah.
So
honestly, at this point, now they're going to have to play even more ball control and just hope to force like 2 turnovers a game because
can Minka Fitzpatrick have an interception for a touchdown and a blocked kick in the same game? I mean, it's a lot to ask from. I mean, he's a great player, but you're asking a ton out of these other guys now that you lost one of the best players in the league.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with my biggest surprise. I'm going to end up going with your guys' neighbor in New York. I'm going to say the Giants. The reason I'm going to say the Giants is because people forget the Titans were the first seed last year. They've have a generational running back on their roster. The Giants came back down 13, came all the way back, and the coach made a big decision.
Yeah, that was
late in that game. I mean, I also wanted to shout out Saquon Barkley because obviously that guy's had a tough go. So
yeah.
I mean, get 18 carries for 164 and a touchdown. That's a big game, man.
Game. Honestly, his career is kind of like his games. Like he'll have like a 2-yard game, 5-yard game, 2, 1, 50. And it's like during the season, it's like he'll have like a 8 catch, 70 yards, 18 rushes, 150 yards. Next week he has like 60 yards. It's like, but like when he's at his peak, he's like a top 3, top 5 back. It's the consistency of him.
And like you said, I mean, ceiling's up here, and then you just get that floor where he's either hurt or banged up, and and you just never know what you're going to get. So I wanted to shout out the Giants because, beating the Titans, obviously they're not the same Titans. They lost A.J. Brown. They're not the same. Landry got hurt in the preseason. One of the better defensive linemen in the league. But I think that was a big win for the Giants, who are trying to right wrongs from years past. So I want to give them a shout out.
Honestly, the NFC East don't get me wrong, it's not the NFC West, but I don't think it's going to be that bad this year. Like, at least compared to how it usually is.
Well, Eagles are going to be strong. Some people have got them as a sleeper pick for, a deep run in the playoffs. Cowboys are question mark now because of the quarterback injury with Dak. Commanders, I was going to put Carson Wentz as my biggest surprise, man. Came out slinging it. 4 touchdowns. The Jags are the Jags, but the guy, he takes a lot of flack, but he can still sling it a little bit. So
I think it's not going to be one of those years where like that division finishes with like an 8-win winner. It might be 10, but that's like the peak. No, I don't see no 11s. Like 9, 10 wins.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. And then I want to jump over who was your biggest disappointment of the week? Because mine, right off the bat, Joe Burrow. Unfortunately, it was Joe Burrow. I understand there's a possible Super Bowl hangover, some things like that. But, man, 5 turnovers. Steelers are good, but you just 4 picks and a fumble.
Yeah, to start the game with a pick, and then in overtime, like on that 3rd down play, he got sacked, and he's lucky an old lineman picked up because the game would have been over right. Even though they still lost, the game would have been over right there.
And I mean, like you said, Steelers have a good defense. You can't beat a good team turning the ball 5 overtimes, and I think that shows that the Bengals still have a lot of potential because they were in a game where they had 5 turnovers. But I'm going to say my biggest disappointment because I expected a lot. I've talked about Joe Burrow being a hell of a player. Can't have 5 turnovers in a game. I also wanted to say that revamped Bengals O-line. That wasn't what it was. They gave up 7 sacks. The Steelers defense had 10 tackles for loss.
And even there was some plays where like he escaped the sack. They could have easily had like 3 or 4 more sacks, but like he spun out of a few. But that's something I got to work on.
That is not conducive to winning football. Like I don't, we heard about them getting these players, Lyle Collins, Kappa from the Bucks, Carraris, the center. I get TJ Watt's a force of nature, but geez, 7 sacks, you can't win football games like that. So who did you end up putting as your biggest disappointment?
I would say the Colts. Even though it ended in a tie, like Matt Ryan, bro, you were brought there to just like hold it down. You're still a serviceable quarterback to beat. They was down 17, I think, going into the 4th. Like to almost lose that. Like they have pieces. They have a lot of pieces. I have them winning that division clearly. So
yeah,
even though it's only week 1 and it's a division game, that's just not the way to start the season.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm not a believer in Matt Ryan, but I am a believer in Jonathan Taylor and their O-line. So, and even, they've got Pittman's a talented receiver. They've got some Darius Leonard did not play. Sorry. What's his name now? Shaq. He changed his name, so I'll get up on that. But he didn't play, but they have a lot of talented players. So I expect them to do more. Like you said, I think they're going to be the division winner also. So I'm right there with you. Now we've hit on week 1 a little bit now. Let's jump into the meat of it. Week 2. Let's hear your selections. We'll go through. We'll bounce it back and forth. I'm going to keep track of these.
Let me see. I got to pull the week 2 schedule up. I definitely know the Thursday night game.
I'll read them off to you. I got them pulled up here. I'm gonna write down your selections because I'm gonna try to see who we're gonna keep them up, and we're going to I'm gonna keep track of who like our records when we go through throughout the year. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna start with the Thursday night game, Chiefs versus Chargers. I know you're picking here, but let's hear it.
My homeboy. I got him.
All right. The reason I am going to say the Chiefs is a little bit different than yours. You're just you're a Mahomes guy, so whatever. I'm going to pick the Chiefs because I think the Chargers are dealing with some substantial injuries. Keenan Allen, J.C. Jackson. I just think when you're missing 2 guys against a team as talented as the Chiefs are, that are big play players, you're going to have a hard time. So I'm going to say I'm going to give it to the Chiefs also. So we do agree there. Just the injuries, I think, are going to be a little bit much for the Chargers. I still expect Justin Herbert to have a hell of a game.
Yeah. I'm interested to see like how, because I didn't catch the full Raiders game, but I saw a few drives, especially on that last one. Mac and Bosa every play. Like, even though Mahomes is more mobile than Carr, I'm very interested to see like how like he approaches that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, Chargers still have a lot of defensive talent, but I don't know. I just I'm gonna side with the Chiefs this time, unfortunately.
Oh yeah,
hurts
like
my soul.
To flip it, the pass rush, they were getting after Murray, and Murray's mobile. So even though Herbert's mobile too, I gotta see. It's gonna be a real interesting game. I can't wait to watch that one.
It's a great Thursday night game. They're pulling out the stops on that one. We're gonna skip over Jets at Browns because we already made our picks there. We got Washington at the Lions.
I got Washington.
Lions are Washington.
Yeah, Lions are feisty, but I definitely have Washington in that one.
I think while Washington had the win last week against the Jags, I'm going to take the Lions. I like the way they came back and fought against the Eagles. The Eagles are a more talented team. There's just something with Dan Campbell and the Lions.
Yeah,
watching a little bit of their Hard Knocks, it just works for them. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pick the Lions this week. In a little bit of an upset, not a match. I wouldn't call it a match upset, but
it's not like nobody will be like, oh my god, but they will be like, wow, the Lions.
I would say most of the experts would lean towards the Commanders this week. So jumping into the next week, we got Tampa Bay at New Orleans.
Tampa Bay just because, but ever since Brady got there, he's been struggling with the Saints.
Yeah, that's a script tonight.
I feel like I'm just telling Tampa Bay it's like going to be a late Brady clutch drive.
I sided with Tampa also. I think more than anything, their defense is still very stout. So give them a slight edge on defense. I think Brady's the better quarterback in the game. I do like the Saints' weapons. Michael Thomas getting back to form. Chris Olave, Kamara. They had a lot of good players, but I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna side with the Bucs like you did. Next game stays in the NFC. Panthers at Giants. Now, do remember the Browns just beat the Panthers, so take that in consideration when you make your pick.
Even though he just had a great game, I don't see Saquon going that crazy again. And Jones is Jones, and even though he's bad for 3 quarters, Baker, he did rally late. So I'm just Panthers. I'll mention the Panthers. I like their weapons a bit more.
All right, we're gonna differ on that one. I'm going to take the Giants. I'm gonna trust. For some reason, I'm gonna trust Saquon to do it again. I think he's healthy. I think Daniel Jones, he putters along, and then he'll make a play with his legs or something, and it'll change the game a little bit. But if you get good Saquon Barkley, if he can get another 100-yard game, I think the Giants are good enough to hang around. Now, this is, Christian McCaffrey goes nuts, then it's.
Yeah, he actually needs a bounce back game because I didn't see like his full box score, but he only rushed for like 50 versus y'all, right?
Yeah, and then a lot of that was on one broken play where him and Baker fumbled the exchange. So he didn't have a great game. Stats got a little bit better. He had a rushing touchdown, but overall it wasn't great. But I'm gonna go with the Giants. I think it's a toss-up game, so I'm gonna go Giants. Next we got in the AFC Pats versus Steelers at Pittsburgh. No TJ Watt.
That's going to be ugly, possibly all field goals, but
the Patriots did not look good week 1. They did not look good.
Both the coaches, Steelers, they just have a bit more on offense. So I got the Steelers. It's going to be like
Does Mike Tomlin buy another pair of black Air Forces for everybody? Is that the ticket? I mean,
since I think he has like a lot of respect for Belichick and like he doesn't want to give him billboard material, so I don't think he's going to do that.
All right, so you're going Steelers?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to agree with you. I just don't. I like the Patriots running backs. I like Harris and I like Stevenson, and that's about where it stops.
Yeah, they're just like offensively just devoid of talent.
Mac Jones just, I don't know. He's just not. He had a couple flashes last year, and then this year, that game, Dolphins are good. They're a good team, but it was never close. So
yeah, because it all like as soon as the Dolphins went up like 10, you just thought, yeah, can the Patriots really string together 2 scoring drives?
Right,
and
and
it's just
they don't. I don't know why. I mean, they've just missed on a lot of draft picks, and they just don't have receivers that can stretch the field and change the game. Steelers, again, I think are going to be limited on offense. They've got to hope Najee Harris's foot's okay. If Najee Harris's foot's not okay, that could change things. But as of now, he said he's going to play, so I'm going to stick with the Steelers also. Jumping into the next game, it's going to be the Indianapolis Colts at the Jaguars.
I definitely have the Colts. I think they want to get that bad taste out their mouth, and then them knowing that it's a division game. You can't start the season with a tie and a loss in the division. So I think they're going to get that act together, and I think they're going to get the Jags out of here. Probably like a 10+ point victory.
Yeah, I had you penciled in for the Colts before you said anything. I could just tell. I think the Jags are moving in the right direction. I don't think they're as talented as the Colts yet. I'm going to side with the Colts because I think Jonathan Taylor, if he gets you 125 and a touchdown, the ball control, I just think they're going to be better. Trevor Lawrence, I think, has improved under the new coaching staff, but I'm going to lean Colts because I just think their talent's over a little bit higher than the Jaguars are at the moment. Moving forward, we've got a tough game here between the Dolphins and the Ravens at Baltimore.
I'm definitely have the Ravens, but it's giving high scoring vibes. Like there's a lot of playmakers in that game. But I think it's going to come down to I trust Lamar way more than I trust Tua. And if it's like in a clutch, it's just no way I'm going Tua over Lamar. Even though last year that Lamar Dolphins game that was rough.
Yeah,
they beat him every play. But I got the Ravens.
Ravens. That's what I assumed. Ravens did not run the ball well last week. I think they're going to need to run the ball a little bit better against the Dolphins to win. Mark Andrews has got to do more. I'm going to pick the Ravens also because I do believe that the run game is going to be better. I think Lamar breaks a long run, changes the game. And the Ravens have got to keep those two guys from getting deep. I mean, you got to stop those two guys, Waddle and Hill. So if they can keep them in front of them, I think the Ravens win. So I'm going to side with the Ravens also. Should be a close, high-scoring game, like you said. I think mid-30s, maybe a 35-31 type finish. But it should be. I got that game circled as one of the better games of the day for sure. Next, we're heading out to L.A., the Falcons versus the Rams in L.A.
Rams easily,
get back game.
Even if they weren't embarrassed by Buffalo, the talent difference is just I got them 35-14 or something, if that. So
okay, here, quick question for you. Does Cooper Kupp get over 10 catches?
I think he's going to get chunks. So they'll
start. He had 13 last week. So 13 last week. Do you think he gets 10 this week?
No, because I think Stafford, he kind of has to spread the ball out a bit more now. And I don't think they're going to run the ball that bad again. So I just think of the way the game plan is set up. I don't think Cooper's going to have a double-digit catch game.
Do you think Cam Akers gets more than 0 fantasy points this week?
He's going to have to. That was bad. He wasn't. Yeah. I don't even think he started. Wasn't it Henderson? I think.
Yeah, Henderson was their guy last week.
Yeah,
which
so,
I don't know. They hype up Akers all the time, and then he didn't even. I don't understand it. So, all right. I also went with the Rams for the same reasons. The Falcons they had a nice loss against New Orleans. I don't think they're there yet. They've got some improvements to make. I'm not a Marcus Mariota guy. I don't know. Next game, we're going staying out west, going over to San Francisco. Seattle at San Francisco.
If you asked me this 2 days ago, I'd have said San Francisco. But it's probably a bit of Geno bias. I don't know, man. And I was definitely sleep on Penny. He was gashing the Broncos last
year.
Yeah. So honestly, I got Seattle.
Okay. All right. Seattle.
And also that's also a bit of, I'm not 100% into, oh my God, get rid of Garoppolo, start Trey. Like, I'm not saying he's bad. It's just like I had to see more. He started like what, 5 games?
No, yeah, I agree. I also picked Seattle off of the recency bias, and Trey Lance has to play football games for me to just. Some people are just decided that this guy can play. He's going to go out there and do all this stuff. You know, as much as people want to get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo, the guy won football games. That's just it just works for him. I don't know why. He's not a great quarterback, but he manages well. And I think I just don't know if Trey Lance is there yet. Obviously, the conditions last week for that game were really bad.
Yeah.
So that probably changes things too. And their running back, Elijah Mitchell, was hurt.
Oh, yeah, he's out
but
I think like 2 months or something.
Yeah, they don't have any luck with injuries and running backs. I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks also, just off of recency bias. Here's jumping into the next game. Was going to be an interesting game, but with injuries, it's changed a little bit. Bengals at Cowboys in Dallas.
Definitely the Bengals now, because especially with no Dak. Even though the defense did play good, but still, like, there's no way I see the Bengals losing to Cooper Rush.
I also went Bengals. I don't think Joe Burrow is going to play that bad 2 weeks in a row. I do think that they're going to have to double team, triple team Michael Parsons to keep him off of Joe Burrow's back. That man is a freak of nature. I'm not a big believer in Diggs, Trayvon Diggs. I'm just not. He makes a big play, he gives up a big play.
Yeah.
He's too hit or miss. I think the Bengals and Jamar Chase are going to get a little crazy in the passing game. So I'm going to go with the Bengals. I think they're going to win by at least 10 points.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush is no chance. Next game is going to be Texans at Broncos.
Broncos.
Who you got there? Broncos. You think Broncos are bouncing back?
Yeah. Even though, like, the Texans, I put the Texans in, like, the Lions category. That, they're quote unquote bad, but they're somehow feisty. But yeah, Broncos.
I'm going to differ there from you. I'm going to take an upset, kind of an upset. I mean, they're tied. I'm going to go with the Texans. I don't know what it is. They seem to be in games all the time. If they can keep it close, if Russ can't cook, or let it ride or whatever motivational thing he wants, he's always on something. Looked like he was dressed to go to the prom the other night. He's not my favorite suit I've ever seen, but I'm gonna go with the Texans in an upset because I don't know.
Yeah. If the Broncos start 0-2, agendas will be flying about Wilson.
And then you pay this guy all this money, and then you don't let him attempt a fourth down. You kick a 64-yard field goal.
Honestly, I don't even like the clock management, because when they complete the play, I was like, all right, you have to either pull a timeout now or hurry up and like run a slant or like something.
If Peyton Manning's telling you to call a timeout, you probably should take a timeout. Yeah, the coach is young. They're unproven. I mean, Jerry Jeudy's he's a solid player, but he's not proved anything yet. Cortland Sutton's not proved anything yet. They still are giving Melvin Gordon the carries instead of Williams. I just don't know. everybody hypes up Javonte Williams, and then the games start, and Melvin Gordon for some reason getting all the carries.
And that's another thing I didn't understand because Williams, like, he was gashing. So why
Yeah, I
not give
mean,
him the carry?
I don't know. So I'm gonna go out on a limb, take the Texans. Davis Mills. I like the young running back. They need to let him do more. Rex Burkhead is a journeyman. He's not. I don't know. At some point, you gotta let some of these young guys take over and go. I just feel like some teams, an older coach in Lovie Smith is connected to a guy like Rex Burkhead more than a young guy, maybe. Pierce has got a lot of talent. I think you got to let him go a little bit. So just an upset. Next is a clash out west. Arizona against at the Raiders.
Definitely a high-scoring affair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say the Raiders because even though, like, don't get me wrong, like, Carr and the Raiders are no Mahomes and the Chiefs, but just how bad that Cardinals pass defense looked.
I mean, who's gonna stop Adams? I have no idea.
Yeah, so like combination of Renfro, Adams, Waller. Yeah, I got the Raiders.
Too many weapons for the Cardinals to stop.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a clean 38-27 type game.
Okay. Yeah, I agreed with you there. I'm also gonna go with the Raiders because Kyler's a different quarterback without Hopkins. I mean, it's just been proven time over time. I just don't think James Conner's a solid back. I just don't know if he can outscore the Raiders. The Raiders are they're loaded on offense. So we'll see, but I'm going to take the Raiders also by about 10. But then the Sunday night rivalry game in the NFC North, Chicago is at Green Bay.
Green Bay, but I'm hoping it's close because nobody wants to see a blow on Sunday Night Football for one. And for two, I like Rodgers, but I'm kind of starting to be like, bro, you're kind of a complainer. Like, come on,
yeah,
the way he just goes away from certain receivers. He's just like so moody. Like, I don't know. So I'm hoping it's close, but I do have the Packers.
I wanted to pick the Bears here for fun because Rodgers is turning into that same thing you were talking about. But it's hard to pick against them in Green Bay. Bounce back game after the Minnesota loss. But Rodgers has got to figure out who he wants to throw the ball to because Sammy Watkins, Randall Cobb, those other young guys, they still got the tight end, Tanya, but he's got to make a decision here. I mean, I don't think the Bears are going to be able to get after him the way Minnesota did. No. He'll have a little more time, and I'm just going to I'm going to take them because they're in Green Bay, and I think Aaron Rodgers is going to play much better than he did against Minnesota.
I do expect Fields to make a few plays because the Bears were looking like that in the water, no pun intended, last week. But he had some crazy play where he rolled out left, threw it back to the right, and that sparked the entire run. So
yeah,
I think he'll make a few plays, but like you said, in Green Bay, national television, coming off a loss, I definitely have the Packers.
And Fields looked more comfortable playing backyard football. Things are breaking down, and he's moving around. He's making lob throws crossed over to trying to think who the receiver was, Pettis, like that looping throw. I mean, he just looked more comfortable playing that style of football. If you could bottle that up and not make it only happen in the rain, I think they got something going, but there's still a step or two behind.
And just like the talent gap. In Green Bay's defense,
you're right. Yeah.
Nice. Besides them refusing to guard Justin Jefferson, the defense is good.
They have Jair Alexander. He's an established corner. He's a talented guy. Jefferson's he's an absolute monster, but I would think Jair Alexander could do.
Yeah, I think on Jettis' second touchdown, he caught the ball, then braced for impact. There was nobody there. It was just blown coverages everywhere.
A receiver as good as him should have two people on him.
Mm-hmm.
If he beats two people, he beats two people. But
yeah,
I did not. The way they covered him was questionable at best. I didn't love it. Next, we're gonna jump into Monday night. We got Titans at Bills.
Titans. Ooh. I got the Bills. Yeah,
I was gonna say there's no way.
no, don't get me wrong. If there was a way to cheese an argument for the Titans, I would. But it is.
This would have been the perfect time for you to go straight agenda, just push everything out of the way, go all in against Josh Allen.
Well, I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
Find me a way for the Titans to beat the Bills.
Oh, easy. Oh, all right. So basically, Derrick Henry, he just has to be like Derrick Henry, play ball control, and Vaughn, what he did opening night, no way that happens again. Like that was a flashback 2015 Vaughn game. So I think they'll just have to run the ball good. The pass rush won't be as crazy. Now, as for how they guard the Bills, hope and pray for like a turnover or two and just do that. But yeah, I think straight up, I think the Bills should take it.
And I agree with you for all those reasons. On top of that, I personally, I do think Josh Allen is the second quarterback in the league. So I'm going to take the Bills. I don't see Derrick Henry. I mean, he's going to have to get 150 plus 2 tutties. I mean, it's going to be a lot. So I don't like the Titans team. They've had some injuries that don't help. No, they don't have wide receiver weapons right now. I don't see how you can beat a team that can score like the Bills can.
If they get off like a 2-5, 2-6 start, just play Malik Willis.
Oh yeah, I mean at that point, then why would you not? He showed a couple flashes in the preseason, but
yeah, because some of these teams like they'll just get a quarterback and just not use him. Like don't get me wrong, I have no opinion or no agendas about Jordan Love, but at this point, looking like a dumb pick.
Yeah, it's a bad pick. It was always a bad pick. I mean, you knew Rodgers was still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Yeah, he's won back-to-back MVPs. It's insane. You could have drafted a wide receiver that could be developing right now into something special. Second Monday night game is what I think could be one of the games of the week coming off of last week. Battle of the 1-0 teams, Vikings at Eagles.
High swung affair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take the Vikings because although like they're both high-powered offenses, the Vikings they got some pieces on defense.
Yep.
So I think that mixed with I trust Kirk more than I trust Hurts. So like with the Vikings having like a better defense and I trust their quarterback more. I even like their running back and receivers. Well, yeah, Vikings they're a good team. If they win the NFC North, I'm not surprised. I picked the Packers preseason, but if the Vikings win it, like I said, it's just I wouldn't be like, wow, that's crazy. But yeah, so I have the Vikings.
Okay, so along the same lines, surprisingly, I honestly thought you were going to lean the Eagles. I'm going Vikings also. I think that their defensive line is going to cause Hurts problems. I don't think that they're going to be able to run the ball as well. Miles Sanders had a touchdown. A couple other guys in the backfield for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts can move.
4 different players had a rushing touchdown.
Exactly. So I think Hunter and some of those other guys are going to be able to slow them.
Hunter, Smith, Kendricks. Yeah, they got players.
They got players. I think they're going to be able to slow down the Eagles a little bit. The Eagles have good pieces themselves. They lost Barnett, one of their better defensive linemen. I don't think they're going to be able to stop Justin Jefferson. Dalvin Cook's still a hell of a player. Adam Thielen's good. I'm going to give the Vikings the edge. Also, I think they have a lot of potential going deep into the season.
Yeah.
So that wraps up the picks. I got all of our picks written down here. Next week, we're going to update you on our record. We'll go through the week 3 picks like we did tonight. But next, I'm going to jump into something. I'm wondering, who do you think is going to be the defensive player of the year? We've had a week to see. Obviously, it's early, but who in your mind has the inside lane? I would like to preface it by saying, with TJ Watt out, I think that's going to really hurt his chances of winning. So I think we should take him off the board for now just because of injury.
I have to check historically, but the defensive player of the year, does it have to come from a high-winning team?
Last year, TJ Watt won it. They were 9-8. Good question. Let me pull it up real quick while you think.
Yeah, and the reason I say that is because I think the Cowboys, especially even though you heard Jerry Jones say, "Oh, Dak's not on the IR, he might come back in 4 weeks."
which is crazy.
Yeah, but so let's say Dak misses like 8 games, comes back like mid-November. I think the Cowboys they're probably going to peak this year with like 5, 6 wins due to the injury. So I think like if Parsons has like a great year, but their record is bad, I don't
Yeah.
see how. Yeah, I don't see how he gets it. And with Watt
So
out, Donald's not going to get it, and the other option will be Garrett. And I do think y'all are a bit better than them. So if y'all finish with like 7, 8 wins, I can see Browns can get just because like better record.
So I was gonna, like you just said, I wanted to read off the last couple winners to you just to see because most of these are winning teams. It went T.J. Watt, Aaron Donald, Stephon Gilmore in 2019 with the Patriots when they were good still. Aaron Donald, Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack won it for Oakland, and I don't think they were great. J.J. Watt won it back to back with Houston when they were all right. So I mean, it has happened. Kuechly won it before him. J.J. Watt's won it 3 times. That's insane. Aaron Donald's won it 3 times also. So those teams are like borderline playoff teams. So you've got to probably be in the hunt. But I would say, and this is what I'm going to say for both guys, I think it's going to come down to Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
If Micah Parsons breaks the sack record, I think you got to give it to him. If Garrett breaks the sack record, you got to give it to him. Those are my my front runners. Just a quick go over their stats. Garrett had 4 solo tackles, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflected. Parsons had 4 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits, which obviously the sacks. Both guys are neck and neck right there. Obviously, it's 1 week, but I think those guys are going to be the main focus for Defensive Player of the Year with Watt being out. I wanted to say just a shout. My dark horse is going to be Derwin James. Do you have a dark horse that you'd like to say? I think Derwin James does everything really well. If he's healthy, he could be in the conversation.
My dark horse, I didn't. Does it? You think a safety can possibly get it?
So the reason I said him is because I think he plays in different levels because if you look at it last week, he had a sack, he had a tackle for loss, he had 6 solo tackles. If he can throw in a couple interceptions here and there and still play in the backfield like that and cover that kind of ground, I'm just saying he's a dark horse. I don't think he's going to overtake Garrett or Parsons, but I think if he stacks up a great season and he's healthy, he could be in the voting, even the top voting.
Oh, a dark horse actually just popped in my mind.
Let's hear it.
Possibly Minkah
Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, and the reason
you think if he goes crazy.
Yeah, it's because like especially with Watt out, if the Steelers they're always 500 somehow. If they somehow are 500, knowing that offense is putrid, it would have to be because of amazing defense. So like if they even finish like a bit under 500 with 7 wins with that defense, that's a good.
I like that. I like that as a dark horse. You went safety, I went safety. Obviously, we're fighting the Parsons and Garrett seem like they're going to be fighting it out this season.
It's actually funny. Parsons, he's supposed to be on Undisputed every Tuesdays. Skip said him and Fox couldn't get in contact with Micah today, or even yesterday, so he just like blew them off. I wonder how that's going to go because he was on Twitter yesterday. I don't know if you saw him arguing with Fournette.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my thought is, how else are you going to slow this guy down? Like I get defensive players don't want to get hit like that, but Tom Brady's getting crushed by this dude.
Yeah, I think he had Micah had 2 in the first half.
Yeah, I mean his 2 sacks. He had 2 sacks, 2 tackles for losses. He was all over Brady. I would expect to get chipped pretty damn hard by your running back who's trying to protect the quarterback. I didn't understand some of that back and forth. I get not wanting to be hit blindsided and things like that, but dude, if you're that good, people are trying to stop you any way they can. I wasn't sure. I didn't know he was supposed to be on Undisputed every week.
Yeah. They announced it like a month ago. Every Tuesday they were going to have Michael on there, and I was actually looking. Well, not in studio. Like they set up Fox equipment in his house. I was
Yeah.
looking forward to that because, like, let's say the Cowboys start like 1-5, like, and what is he supposed to say on TV at that point?
Do you think he didn't come because they lost?
It might be that, in the fact that he might be quote unquote embarrassed because like he's viral off of like getting blown up. But other than that, he still could have like reached out to them. He could have said, "Oh yeah, we just had a loss. I'm focusing on the next week." He still could have said
Yeah,
something.
but I guess my thought is it's the NFL. You're not going 17-0. You know, you got to show up. I don't know. That's weird to me. I don't know. I either way, guy's a hell of a player. I think he's going to be a multiple defensive player of the year. But I think him and Garrett are definitely the front runners. Next, I wanted to get on. I think I know who you're going to pick, but I want you to give everybody who's your MVP pick.
My homeboy, Patrick Mahomes. I think he has the agenda saying that y'all said it like I was a Tyreek merchant, like a product of Tyreek. So obviously he's not going to do what he did this past Sunday every week. But even last year,
did he have 4? Did he end up with 4 TDs?
5.
Jeez.
He had 5 with I think he barely not barely played the fourth quarter, but they took their foot off the gas. So right. Yeah, he had 5 with like 360, 30 for 39. So I think this year, if he finishes with like 5K and like about 45 plus touchdowns, yeah, I think I definitely got him.
All right. We talk about these things a lot. I knew who you were going to go with. You probably knew who I'm going with. I think Josh Allen, this is his year to win it. I think he's got the roster around him. I think the Bills are the best team on paper. I think best player on the best team. That's usually a basketball thing.
Yeah.
But I think that's very possible for this season because I think if they're winning games, his stats are going to reflect the wins. And I think him and Mahomes are going to fight it out for, most yards, most touchdowns. Obviously, week 1, Josh Allen, 26 of 31, 3 TDs. He had the 2 picks. The thing about Josh Allen is he brings the rushing side of it.
Yeah.
He put on, he has those passing numbers, but he went for 56 yards and a touchdown on the ground. So, you take into consideration that the guy can run the ball a little bit and he's an effective runner. Mahomes is more of an effective he's an effective scrambler. He's more of an escape artist. He's getting away from people to extend the play more than gain yards. Not saying on a 3rd and 7 the guy can't scramble and get it. It's just he runs a different way. I think Allen's yards will stack up a little bit more. I would not be surprised if Mahomes led in yards, but I would also take into consideration that Josh Allen, what he does for the running game. So that's just I think it's going to be close. I think those 2 are the guys, but I'm going to lean Josh Allen. And I know, Mahomes, dark horse MVP. Any guys you think could sneak in there?
Totally. It's kind of cheating to have 2 dark horses, but I think like Herbert and Lamar, especially like if they're like north of 10, 11 wins.
So for Herb to win it, he's gonna have to outplay Mahomes all year. That's crazy,
Yeah.
Which he's got the talent. I do believe he has the talent, but we got to see him do it. And you've said this to me personally.
Yeah,
we got to see him do it. He looked great week 1. He can sling the hell out of the ball. We got to see him do it. Uber talented. Got to outplay Mahomes.
Yeah, so I definitely have. It's going to come down to Mahomes, Allen, but if like I just said, like if Herb or Lamar have like 11, 12 win seasons, I could see that.
Yeah, and like you said, Lamar, slow start, but man, he had some. I've doubted his passing in the clutch in playoff games. The man was dropping dimes in that second half.
Yeah, with him, even like me being like a big Lamar defender, like his mid range and like some of his like mid range and like 3rd down accuracy is off, but his deep ball,
that throw he put the Duvernay in the corner of the end zone, not the corner, but going towards the corner where Duvernay, he put it right on him. He just had some really nice throws. Obviously, it's week 1, and we'll see how it goes forward. I've doubted him in the playoffs, but man, is he a talented player. I would not be surprised. I like both those picks. I I'm going to go with my dark horse. Now, this is going to lead into our next thing. I'm going to put Kirk Cousins in the dark horse. That is about as dark of a horse as you can get.
It really is.
Because I don't know why I'm on the Minnesota bandwagon right now.
Low key, I am too. I don't know what it is.
I just wasn't ready for Green Bay to get beat like that, I guess. Last topic of the night. Who is your Super Bowl selection?
The AFC, I'm rocking with the Chiefs, but the NFC, I don't know. Like even like we both like the Vikings. Not to necessarily make it, but if they were in the conference finals or even made it, I wouldn't be surprised. But the Rams. I don't think they're going back. That's hard to do.
They looked really
that's hard to do.
And I think the world of the Bills, but I expected more from the Rams. Aaron Donald is still there. They still got really good players. I don't know.
Yeah,
so who's it going to be?
I think it's coming out the NFC North. It's going to, even though I'm wild for assuming Rodgers, it's going to be the Packers or Vikings, and I think he has to. I think Rodgers, he has to.
So you think Green Bay circles all the way back around?
Yeah, he at this point, he has his. A lot of people already took him out like the him Brady debate, but if he doesn't make it this year, people are going to drop him, maybe even below Peyton, or people might already put Mahomes above him. So I think just out of, your legacy is on the line, I think the Packers have to do it.
Okay, so here's mine. I'm going to go with the Bills. I think, like I said, I think they're the best team in the NFL. I think they have the best roster. After us talking through the podcast and everything, you're on the same level I am about the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be a hot take. I thought I was going to come in here, say something crazy, but you seem like you've been on the same little wavelength. We didn't even discuss this part. I'm saying Bills versus Vikings after week 1. Vikings, they've got great upside. They've got talent at all the offensive positions.
Yeah,
I think Kirk Cousins, if he can not turn over the ball, if he can just not have those Kirk Cousins type moments that people have come to know, they've got a good defensive line. Bills versus Vikings. I got the Bills winning in the Super Bowl.
And like even going back to the Vikings, it's like, you focus like Jefferson, Thielen. Oh snap, Cook is still like a top 6, top 7 back.
Exactly.
So yeah, they're loaded. So if Cousins could just not even play superhero, but not necessarily game manager, like if he could just play like a bit below Pro Bowl level, they're dangerous.
And he's been a Pro Bowler. That's the thing. Like he has these moments, but he puts up these numbers and he's right there. I thought I was going to be crazy. I thought you were going to be like, what's going on here? But we're on the same wavelength crazily. I'm going, Bills win the Super Bowl. Are you going Chiefs Super Bowl win?
Yeah. Like I think Rodgers is going to get there, but I got the Chiefs.
Okay.
I got the Chiefs.
All right. Let me. I got to mark these down for the future.
And it's hopefully wait, the Packers and Chiefs do play in the regular season, right?
Yeah. Which let me double check which week.
We've yet to see a Rodgers Mahomes, so imagine like the first year we see it's regular season and Super Bowl.
That would be awesome. They play. No, they play the NFC West this year.
Well,
but we do get week 4. We get Tom versus Mahomes on Sunday night in Tampa Bay.
That's gonna be
if
great.
He loses to Tom again,
no,
we're gonna have to change. We're gonna have to start changing some things around. I'm just letting you know.
For agenda purposes, I would like it to be Chiefs Bucks, just so like Mahomes can finally beat them in the playoffs. But I don't know. It's that Bucks O-line. Even though like I'm a slanderer of Tom, and like I know not to bet against him. Like that O-line is just, if he makes the Super Bowl with this O-line, I might cut the slander now.
Might. if he does it with this level of O-line, you finally might. You're not even. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'll stop calling him a check down Charlotte and a burger. I'm like, all right, bro, you good, you good.
All right, so we went through a lot of information. We've picked our Super Bowl winners. We picked our defensive player of the years. We've picked our MVPs. We've got next week's picks in the bag. I got them all written down. So first podcast, how do you feel, man? I think we're onto something.
Yeah, honestly, bro, I like this a lot. It's gonna be fun as the season progresses. There's more stuff to talk about, more agendas. And then, in a month, we'll be able to do football and basketball.
Dude, looking forward to basketball.
Be
Being able to take this podcast in different directions it's going to be really fun. Yeah. And I was going to ask you, last thing before we go, would you rather be the main character in a Saw movie, or would you rather have your man Michael Myers chasing you down? Because I know my pick. I'm very adamant. I'm all out on torture. I don't want to be in needles. I don't want to be sticking my hand in a furnace. I don't want to cut my spine open to get a key.
Yeah,
I don't want these coming out to get a lock code. Stab me twice, throw me down the stairs. I'm dead. I'm good. I'd rather be done with a serial killer than a serial torturer. Yeah. What is your selection?
With me, don't get me wrong. There are some Saw traps because the original Jigsaw, John Kramer. He makes it so that you always have a chance to win, but those chances to win, you have a minute, dig in your eye, get a key. So
exactly,
there's some that you have a chance to win, but it's just like you said. I think it was either Saw 5 or 6, or maybe even 4, where your back was glued to a car and you had to drive as your back was peeling off. Yeah, I'm good on that. Mike, like you said, just choke me, stab me, throw me in a ditch. I don't want to be mentally and physically.
Right. You're coming out of the Saw situation mentally worse. Torture I'm out on. So here we are. Everybody, this is the decision. Serial killer over Saw situation. Next week we're going to come up with another crazy scenario at the end of the podcast. For everybody, this has been the House of Agendas. I'm Doug. This is
Kenzie.
You guys, thank you. Check us out on YouTube at House of Agendas, on Twitter at House of Agendas. You can find me at Dark Doug 35. You can find him at
Kid Kinsey. And follow us on Twitch, man. We be on a lot. Fortnite, Pokemon.
We do stream a lot. I'm at Dark Doug 35 on Twitch. Also, we'll put all this in the bio and everything. Yeah. But thank you guys for the first episode, Kenzie. I had a lot of fun, man. Yeah, I'm gonna hit that end button, and we'll talk again next Tuesday.
Yep.